the Yellow Brics Road. Yellow Brics Road. And what I think is going to be happening over the next 5, 7, 9 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. There seems to be a clear difference between the narrative and what's actually going on. So what I have right here, the yuan, okay, this is measuring the strength of the Chinese currency in relation to the US dollar. And what you'll notice is this thing is literally lower than what it was in 2008 and is on a perpetual downtrend. Well, you might be saying, well, that's just one example. The ruble, the Russian currency that is supposedly backed by gold. Show me the charts and I will tell you the news. So sentiment would not tell you. Sentiment, there's no way in hell that sentiment is going to tell you that this thing looks like a meme coin. This thing looks like a shit coin. Like it's literally down 96%. I know meme coins and shit coins that are not down 96%, but people are going around in their lives living in fear. Show me the charts and I will tell you the news. Okay, well, that's just two examples. What about the Brazilian real compared to the US dollar? This thing looks like the Bitcoin chart, except it's down worse. Except it's literally down worse. Now, sentiment and the way that everybody has been feeling about the particular topic does not match in any way, shape, or form, especially the ruble. Like, I've heard people say that the ruble, they're going to back their currency with gold, and the US dollar is screwed. This is worse than Dogecoin. This is worse than Shiba. This is worse than FTX. And this thing's been around. This isn't some, Let's continue though. So what I have right here is the Bric 50. This is the Dow Jones. This is the top 50 currencies, or companies rather, with the most liquid companies in the BRICS nation. Brazil, Russia, India, China, so on and so forth. These are the top 50 companies. And measuring in the US dollar, this thing is at 2008 levels currently. Let me give you the outlook on where I think we're actually heading. So there's a narrative that the BRICS are just going to take over. They're just going to take over the US dollar. And the US dollar and the US stock market and all the exchanges are just going to go poo-poo, sayonara, it was nice knowing you. This is what I actually think is going to happen. So let's take a look at the Dow Jones. I went over this on my channel before, but what I'm going to be relaying again, and I actually went over this yesterday, every 7 years, some pretty crazy stuff happens in the financial sector. 2022, FTX collapsed, Luna collapsed, the war in Russia. 2015, the Chinese stock market crashed 50%. 2008, the great financial crisis. 2001, the dot-com bubble busted and 9/11 happened. 94, the stock market crashed 50%, and 86 was Black Monday. All these events happen every 7 years. And what I have March right here is the next 7th year, the next Shemitah, as they call it, right here. Okay. Hey everyone. And what I have right here is the fractal from the Roaring 20s. And what you'll notice if we zoom in, this thing lines up very much so, even with the C19 crash, even with this chop right here where we're at. In my opinion, especially looking at the ruble, which is down worse than Shiba, which is down worse than FTX, which is down worse than X shitcoin, is down worse than any of those. The Chinese yuan is at 2008 levels, and the BRICS Dow Jones is at also 2008 levels. So when you factor all these things in, this is what I think is going to happen. The narrative would tell you that this thing is going to take over the US dollar. Typically, a Shemitah is a big some sort of event that typically takes place. Typically, it is the start of a big sort of sell-off. Okay, the big sell-off. But people think that this is what's going to take over. I don't think that this is, especially looking at the ruble. I've literally heard people say Russia has a lot of gold. Look at this chart right now. I can name you 21,000 different cryptocurrencies that look better than this chart right here. This is dog shit of a chart, okay? This chart is terrible. So what I think is gonna happen is this right here. Let me go back up to the Dow Jones. And so long as this little line here in the sand holds, I would call it this line right here. This can come all the way back down to 32,666. And it would be perfectly fine for the Dow Jones. Now, why am I going over the Dow Jones? Because at no point in time has Bitcoin had a bull market set a new all-time high without also the Dow Jones setting a new all-time high. Now, history might change, but that is what we have to go off of. All right, so this is what I think is going to happen. It doesn't have to be to this magnitude. It could easily just get to the 3618 right here. But I think we're going to have a roaring 20s, rocking and rolling. And by my estimation, that will truly be the big one. But looking at the charts on the ruble is so funny because like in my gut, I was like, this is such a popular narrative. This doesn't feel right to me. I'm like, let me look at the charts, because if you show me the charts, I will tell you the news. I can name you 21,000 different cryptocurrencies that have a better chart than this right here. This is a major currency of a country. This is Russia's currency. That thing looks awful.